I'm here to update you on the arrest of a suspect with regard to homicide 56 for 2017, and that's the murder of Tess Richey. Tess Richey was last seen on Saturday, November 25th, 2017, at approximately 3 a.m. She had been down in the area of Wellesley and Church, attending a bar with a friend of hers. And while she was down there, she interacted with several people, one of which was a young man that she met up with at some point, who turns out to be our suspect. And she was, in fact, last seen in his company by witnesses. She was reported missing later that day by her sister, and as a result, 51 Division, assisted by 41 Division, commenced an investigation into the missing person occurrence. On November 29th, Tess was unfortunately located deceased by members of her family who were in the area searching for her, and she was found in a exterior stairwell outside of 582 Church Street. On Friday, December 1st, following a post-mortem examination, her cause of death was determined to be neck compression. At that time, the homicide unit took carriage of the investigation, and it became a homicide investigation. On Sunday, December the 3rd, investigators put out a press release with a description of this unknown male who had been seen with Tess that night in the area of Church and Wellesley between 2 and 5 a.m. The description of that male was a male white who was taller than Tess, approximately 5'7" to 6 feet, somewhere in that range, the slim build and light-colored short hair. On Sunday, December 10th, investigators released some surveillance video images of a male that we are looking to identify as part of this investigation. As a result of those images being released, we did receive tremendous support from the community. And I also want to take this time to thank the members of the community, businesses and private individuals who were able to assist us by supplying us with video surveillance in that area for the night that Tess went missing. And all of that assisted in our investigation, so I'd like to thank those people. And I would also like to thank members of the support units in the Toronto Police. You see the homicide investigators up here when something like this happens, and you talk about us in the papers, but there's a whole bunch of people behind the scenes who do things to assist homicide, and they work hard hours, long hours, and I'll tell you, we couldn't do our job without them. I also want to thank the Centre of Forensic Sciences for their assistance, as usual, in these type of investigations, and also the officers in 51. We need a lot of officers to assist us in our canvass and searches, and they were of great assistance. So on Sunday, Sunday, February 4th, so yesterday at about 11 p.m., we were able to effect the arrest of the person responsible for Tess's murder. We're alleging that he's responsible. He was arrested for second-degree murder, and his name is Kalen Schlatter, K-A-L-E-N, this is his first name, S-C-H-L-A-T-T-E-R. He's 21 years old, and he resides in Toronto. He did appear today at College Park Courts, and he's going to be remaining in custody. He was remanded in custody.
Detective Sarge, what can you tell us at this point about what you believe the sequence of events was after Tess parted ways with her friends that night?
Without getting too much into the evidence, which I have to protect for trial, we believe that they were together alone in that area, and they were together for some time, and that Mr. Schlatter left the area, and that by the time he left, Tess was already unfortunately deceased.
Did they know each other?
Doesn't seem to be at this point, no. No, met that night.
Each other?
Met that night.
Can you elaborate on the cause of death?
As I said, neck compression, which in layman's term or layperson's terms, strangulation.
Is there any information you can provide on motive, potential motive?
No, not at this time.
Can we look back at the timeline? Obviously, we know that Tess Richey went missing on the weekend.
Yes.
Can you speak to that? Because the family's been obviously very affected by this.
Yeah, I've spoken to the family, and that is the subject of a separate investigation. That's not within the scope of the homicide squad, so I won't be discussing that aspect of the investigation.
Has Schlatter been before the courts before?
No.
Is he collaborating with the Wellesley community? Is he from that area?
No.
Is he collaborating with police?
I'm not going to elaborate on that.
Is the professional standards unit still looking into potential misconduct at the beginning of this investigation?
The professional standards are involved, and I can't comment on their investigation.
You said that they were allegedly together for a period of time. Can you be more specific? Like, are we talking an hour, 2 hours?
Yeah, I can't get specific because it's evidence of the investigation, and there has to be a trial.
Why did they met at the bar? Would she have been out with her friends?
I'm not going to get into any
Where
further.
was he arrested?
He was arrested in the city of Toronto, close by his residence.
The best you can, it's been a time, a couple of months. Best you can maybe describe when you came upon him. Obviously, this picture was grainy, but there had to be someone that knew him. You know what I'm getting at, just the best you can. Tell us.
The only thing I can say is that we became aware of him fairly early on in the investigation, and there was quite a bit of work involved to bring us to the point where we were able to place him under arrest for the homicide.
How did you find cooperation with the people in the Church Wellesley area? There's been a lot of tension between police and...
Well, as I mentioned it already, they were fantastic in assisting us with video evidence that we required and speaking to us. No issues.
Have there been any pushback from that community? A lot of people questioning you?
No.
Tess Richey was with an old friend when she went missing. Did the friend know this person?
I'm not going to speak to that evidence.
Why
Was he
is
arrested
the
for
second degree
traffic
charge?
stop?
Sorry?
Why is the second degree?
It's the appropriate charge in this case.
Are you saying charges can be upgraded to first degree, or?
I'm not saying that at this point. I believe the appropriate charge at this stage is second degree.
Is it fair to say that he was a suspect from early on, but you needed to build your case, get enough evidence to bring it to court?
That's fair to say.
How long was he on the radar?
As I said, the only thing I'm going to comment on is that it was early in the investigation.
He's not from the Church and Wellesley area. Can you elaborate? You said he was arrested in the city.
I'm not going to give you his address, but the west end of the city.
What does he do for a living, if anything?
My understanding is that he does some contract work.
Like home renovation type stuff, or?
Not home renovation, I don't believe. It's more of an doing exterior work
Did you
on
interview
properties.
early on in the process before the arrest?
I'm not going to comment on evidence of the investigation. I
There's been
can't.
some information that Tess may have been involved in the sex work in Toronto. Has that been a part of your investigation at all?
We take into account everything that is brought up, but it has no bearing on this investigation.
Congratulations to you and your team, by the way. That's great, great police
Thank you.
work. Would you consider this a crime of opportunity between the two of them? Was this a random attack?
It's probably fair to say yes at this stage, from what we understand.
That it's random.
Opportunity. The opportunity presented itself.
The family has had some complaints about how the investigation was handled. Have they launched any sort of formal complaint against the police?
You'd have to ask the family. The family's on very good terms with the members of my team, and my partner, Detective Lou Manis, spoke with the family today and actually met with them. And I speak to Tess's mother probably twice a week.
And what has that experience been like for you and your team working on a case like this? Obviously, it's been very mental health. It's been very emotional for a lot of the people involved. What's that like on you as investigators?
Well, we treat every case of equal importance, and we follow the leads until we hopefully can make an arrest, and if we can't, immediately we keep working on it until we get to that stage where we can hopefully make an arrest. So, I mean, this is the kind of case where obviously you want to make an arrest because it's very high profile, and Tess was a young innocent girl who, obviously nothing like this should have ever happened to anybody, but it took a lot of work, and everybody worked very hard. Like I said, the members of the team and also our support units in the service, and we were lucky to be able to come to this successful conclusion.
Just to be sure, the person of interest in those images, that's the guy that you arrested?
Yes, it turns out it's him.
Was it difficult on your team? Was it difficult on your team because the body had been lying there for 5 days because of the circumstances involving the mother finding her?
There's always different difficulties in homicide investigations. You have to deal with them, you have to move past them, and you have to do it appropriately. It's not much more I can say than that. You have to, every homicide has its issues.
Has Schlatter been under surveillance since December?
I don't comment on investigative techniques.
Can you say if he was arrested during a traffic stop near his home?
No, he wasn't. I'm not going to comment on the way he was arrested, just to say that he was arrested last night.
One more question?
What end of the city was that?
The west end of the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes today's conference.